PowerPoint is confused. Thank you.
Okay. So you can see the screen I'm sharing with you. Can you? Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. So the first thing is for us to understand what is mourning. We have sort of preconceived ideas from our experiences in the past. We've seen people, the way they behave in our family or in the circle of our friends when they lose a loved one. And it's interesting because I just went through an experience. My aunt, she lost her son, and she was asking herself why she couldn't cry. And people came, and some people said to her, "You have a stone in the place of your heart because I haven't seen you drop a single tear." And then she said, "Wow, it's something I can't control. It's just the way I'm going through this period of mourning." And people thought there was something wrong. And then going to these symposium, I realized that people behave in totally different ways, and there isn't the right way to behave when we lose a loved one. It's a very unique, it's a very particular experience. So what is mourning? Mourning is how we deal with the loss of someone. There isn't a recipe. It's how each one of us deal with this loss. And it is important to understand that it is a natural period, and psychologists, they say it's a necessary period. Our life has changed. We have a structure in our life where that person we lost was part of that. That person had a very important role. It was someone very close to us. And all of a sudden, we lose that person. So the person is not there. Things the person used to do won't be done by that person anymore. So there are many elements involved in this period. So it is a natural period of transition. And what we should be prepared to do is to help the person without creating problems for the person, like the lady who said to my aunt that she had a stone inside her chest in the place of her heart because she couldn't cry, And it's important to understand that each one of us will go through a unique way or during this period to behave completely different and in different ways. So, and with time and adequate support. So it's necessary time and support for the person to be able to understand the process, because sometimes we go through it, we don't understand, we don't know how, we know how, when it began, we don't know how it's going to end, when it's going to end, and how we will behave through the whole process. So it's very enlightening in this sense, because the person has to go through the process and then resume the activities, perhaps not exactly in the same ways, because the person that, they lost, in inverted commas, is no longer there. And the person then adapts to a situation where he or she will learn how to live with the memories from the loved one that has passed away. So what are the common feelings in this mourning process? Sadness, it's a very common one. These are not all the feelings we go through, since it's a very particular experience. So some people may feel different feelings, but these are the most common ones that I'm going to show here. Sadness is the most common feeling. It's very difficult to find a person who doesn't feel sad for the loss of a loved one. And it may appear as crying, it may appear as a sensation that the person feels that he or she will never be able to laugh, to rejoice in his or her life again. But this is a temporary situation. We see that, with time and support, that will go away. Anger, it's also very common. It's a feeling of frustration, injustice, wanting to find someone responsible for that. So the person just doesn't accept, and he or she wants to put the blame on someone, on something. Oh, it's yeah, this country is a mess. Oh, those people, they should have looked after him or her. Otherwise he would be here and the accident wouldn't have happened. It's common to rebel against the world, against God, for those who believe in God, and against the person, him or herself. Oh, I'm the one to blame, it's all my fault. And so this is also very natural. Guilt and self-censorship. It normally appears as a feeling of not having been good enough. I wasn't good enough. I wish I had done something differently, or or perhaps I could have avoided the death of that person had I done this, had I done that. So, and sometimes people can be very hard on themselves. It's also natural. And the interesting thing is for us, if we want to help, we have to handle all these different situations. We have to be aware to handle, each of them. And even within the family group, one may behave in a way and the other one may behave in completely different way. So we have to help all of them, but using different approaches. Anxiety is also very common. A feeling of insecurity, that something bad is going to happen. This fear, this guilt, which is somehow related to the previous feeling. Something was done, something was said. Oh, I did this, or I told him or her to go there and he died or she died because of that. So it creates this kind of anxiety. And with this anxiety is also very common irritability, restlessness, insomnia, tachycardia. The person feels that the heart is always beating too fast. Muscular tension, and sweating. So all sorts of feeling. The person actually starts to have physical reactions to this anxiety. Shock, especially when it is a sudden death, the person goes into a state of shock, of feels as if the person is frozen in time, and time around has stopped. The world has just stopped, as if everything has just disappeared. The person, is frozen in time, as it was said. And this is normally very, very common or present when it is a sudden death by accident, something that is completely unexpected. And also if it is a young person, because we don't expect that a young person is going to die, all of a sudden. And although we know it is possible, we don't accept that. This is something that all of us can work within ourselves. We have to be prepared. We have to be prepared because these events happen in life. And as Spiritists, we know that we have our programs. We know when they start here, the day we were born here. The preparation came before, but the day we were born is the day that we started counting the time that we have assigned for our tasks in this world. But we don't know when we are going back. We don't know the date on our return ticket, the date to go back. So this state of shock is especially very present in those people who don't have these don't see this possibility of losing someone at young age, all of a sudden. And with the pandemic, we've been seeing a lot of this. Oh, he was so healthy, he was young, and all of a sudden he fell ill and he's gone. And sometimes the hard thing is sometimes people don't have the chance to say goodbye because they couldn't even, prepare a funeral, a proper funeral for the person, to go through that initial period of mourning with the person still there, and so this state of shock is very common nowadays. Some people feel relief. In bereavement, it's possible that the person may feel something, a certain feeling of tranquility, or something positive. And we shouldn't judge. We are not here to judge the person. We don't know what goes through the mind. This aunt of mine, she said, to a certain extent, she's always saying to herself, oh, my son, if he was still alive, he would have faced very difficult situations, because his job requires that he gets in contact with a lot of people, and I'm sure he would have died of the pandemic, of the virus. And so she said, at least I'm happy that he didn't go when the situation was so critic in the country. So for her, it was a kind of a way she found to diminish the suffering. And it's also common, and we shouldn't judge. This is the important thing. We shouldn't judge. Longing, it's also natural. The person wants that the loved one, or wishes the loved one came back, and is always hoping to meet him or her again. So this is very natural, even for people who are not religious. It's a kind of feeling they have that somehow someday they might meet the person again. And sometimes can be a very painful longing, and some other times it may be something lighter and sweeter. We know that for us Spiritists, we know that it's not the end. We know that we are going to meet the person again. So when we have this longing, we know that, oh yes, well, in the future we'll meet again for sure. We know that, but some people don't. One thing I'm going to talk about is also important to respect the beliefs of the person. We shouldn't take this baggage of religious or even philosophical aspects to the person unless the person requests from us. So this is just the basics, how we approach the person, and then how it develops. We will have many opportunities to do that. Torpor, the person, it's not uncommon also. The person doesn't feel anything. The person feels empty. It's almost as if nothing can move the person from that state, as if she's got this armor around her and nothing affects her. The absence of feelings, and this is also normal. And also normal is tiredness. Even simple tasks, they become exhausting. It requires not only physical energy, it requires mental energy. And the person is sometimes completely drawn from these energies. So the person feels with low energy, no mood for anything, even if it is simple. And sometimes people want to insist, no, you shouldn't behave like this. No, the word is respect. Don't judge, respect, and offer yourself to help the person. Don't come with a ready-made recipe for the person, because as I said in the beginning, it is a unique experience the person is going through. And if we don't have this empathy, we won't realize properly what the process of that person is like. The person feels loneliness. It's also normal. The person feels alone, even surrounded by a lot of people. Or sometimes the person wants to be isolated. She just don't want to see anyone, don't want, people close to him or her. It's also very common. And also to see changes in pattern of sleep. Sometimes some people, they oversleep. Some people, they have insomnia. Change in appetite. Some people eat a lot. Some people lack appetite. Low libido, lack of concentration, difficulty in tasks that were once simple, and impaired memory also. Sometimes, as I said before, simple things, they now mean for the person a lot of energy, concentration to do that. And the person don't feel that he or she can do it, not at that moment. And as I said before, even impaired memory, the person may forget a lot of things. This is all natural and it's temporary. The thing is to shorten this period, which is the most difficult one, and make this bridge for that period where the person starts to regain the routine, the proper life. And as I said before, we will never be the same. Never. We learn to live with a loss. It may become something even, how would I say, something that brings us some comfort in the heart, to have good memories, to carry the memories of the loved one in our hearts, in our minds, and not be disturbed by that. This is the important thing. And how do we help? How to help people undergoing mourning? So, as I said before, each and every one of us has a way to behave, a time to deal with the grief. And when the person speaks, and this is very important, we should try to listen carefully. Not listen because, we want to listen, but we listen with one ear and the other one is paying attention to something else. No, we should give all our attention to the person. Imagine ourselves enveloping the person in this acoustic shield, and it's just the two of us, and we are just ears, no mouth, just listen without judgment, and understand that every feeling that the person expresses is valid. As I said, we mentioned some normal feelings that the person may show, but they are not all the feelings. Every feeling is possible for people undergoing this situation. And the important thing is, don't be afraid to talk about the subject. Some people say, oh, I don't want to mention, that situation because, or even the name of the deceased, because that might bring tears to the eyes of the person. Tears are part of the process. We shouldn't be afraid. It's the way we handle the situation and not the subject in itself. We should be as supportive as we can for the person to get through this moment. This is the important thing, is to understand what the person needs to overcome this period, whatever he or she is feeling. What can we do to make this person get to the other side of the bridge as quickly as possible? It's not important to find out what to say, because sometimes we don't even need to say anything. It's important to show that we are there, that we are prepared to assist the person in his or her needs. And it's important also not to show to the person that he or she is not alone. And be welcoming all the time. The person is undergoing a difficult situation. So we should be as welcoming as we can. What we should avoid? We should avoid saying that We know how the person feels because we don't. As I said, each one has his or her own experience, and it's a unique experience. So we don't know what the person is going through. Talking as if nothing had happened. Oh, this is natural. Oh, it's part of life. Oh, comparing to another person. Oh, so and so cried for 3 days. I can't see a single tear dropping from your eyes. So, no comparison. And avoid sentences like, which are sometimes very common. Oh, you should donate these clothes now. Just go and empty his or her room. Just get rid of his, oh, you don't need that anymore. No, the person will know when to do that, if the person wants to do that. You need to stop talking about it. No, it's important that the person talks as much as necessary to get rid, to cleanse, as it were, from the bad feelings that the situation has brought up within the person. Oh, you need to stop talking about it. No, don't talk. And don't feel that way. He or she is in a better place. This should be avoided, because the person will say, well, the best place for him or for her is right here, on my side, and not, I don't know where, and for those who don't believe in the afterlife, they'll say not in a coffin under, so we should avoid. And we also may let the person speak, listen carefully, seek to understand what he or she is going through. As I said before, it's a unique experience. Respect the silence when the person doesn't want to talk. If the person doesn't want to talk, doesn't want to talk. As I said, the most important person in this situation is the person undergoing it, and respect what he or she feels and asks for. Again, no judgment. Let the person express himself or herself. It's also important to help in the routine. The person has to resume life. The person had a routine, and perhaps the one that died was a key person in the routine. So the person has to reestablish the routine. And we should help in this practical aspect as well. We should offer shelter when they don't want to be alone at home. Some people say, I don't want to go back to my house. It's going to be empty. Wherever I look, I'll see my loved one who's just deceased. And so if it's possible, you can, welcome the person in this way, offer her to stay with you, or perhaps if she wants to, you can stay with her for a while, if it is possible, of course. Do some shopping. Some people can do, as I said, the simple tasks they used to do very easily, but now they represent a great difficulty. So, understand what are the needs for the person, and offer, oh, I'm going to the supermarket, I can do some shopping for you. Go and do some shopping. Even if the person doesn't say anything, you realize that the person is in no mood to go to the supermarket, has nothing in the fridge or wherever. You just go and do some little shopping, and these small things that make the difference. And finally, we said before, we should try to understand and welcome the person in different ways. And when we should be concerned, when to look for professional help. We should look for professional help when this grief puts life and health at risk. Then we should look for psychological counseling. It is essential. The process is natural, but it has to go away with time. If it endangers the person's life, the person's health to a point that you can see the person is getting ill, then it's necessary to have some psychological counseling, because the person can't cope with the situation. It's a particular case that naturally the person is not coming out of this mourning period on her own or on his own, and needs professional assistance. And also it is important to remember that this professional help will offer then a kind of a treatment, something that we can't offer. So it's a case of a person who, as I said before, can come out of this mourning period. As I said, it may last a shorter time, a longer time, but it has to improve with time in its particular way, but it has to improve. And then if we realize it's not improving, you know, some people, they may even say that they realize they need some psychological assistance. And in this case, for us as Spiritists, we can also help together with the psychological assistance, some spiritual counseling. But you see that this is the assistance that each person can offer, the way we can look and learn to respect those going through this mourning period. But of course, if the person is a Spiritist or a religious person, if he's a person that believes in the afterlife, has a religion as such, we can also talk something else to this person, but he has to come from the person and not, you know, ready-made package that we go there, or wallet that we just open and start taking things. Oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should read this, you should go there, you should. No, we have to respect the person. Some people may accept it very happily, but some people may just reject that, and that may even aggravate the situation that the person is going through. So we have to have this kind of feeling. And as I said to you, this is a process. Unfortunately, it's in Portuguese. They have some very nice booklets, and the one that I based this information is how to help someone in mourning. And it's from the university, as I said before, from the group in the university, Federal University of Paraná, here in Curitiba. The project is called Convida. It would be in life, as it were, a very, very loose translation. It's very interesting, the work. And this is the link. They have, I think, 2 more booklets. One of the booklets is directed for mourning within health workers. So it's for those working with this every day, you know, and they lose patients and so on. And they have another one which also gives some orientation. But this is something that is very nice. Unfortunately for those who read Portuguese. But the main points I brought to you, and I hope it can help us when we are faced with a situation which, you know, we basically see every day over the past couple of years. You know, it's been present in our life as never before. At least in my life, I've never seen a period where mourning is so common, so. And this information is so necessary. Okay, that was it. Your microphone is off, Elsa.
I say thank you so much what you brought to us, because it is really relevant. And there are people from Finland, for other countries, they are not able to participate today, but they received my information because I know them. the problem itself, so they are waiting this video. So we'll send for them later on, maybe. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Munir. So we can stop sharing your screen.
Yeah.
And we can move on to our, oh, Leo is here. Oh, so many people now. Oh, Ahmed, so nice to see you. Oh. The gospel, I stop this one and go to the gospel now because no time for Spirit's book. Can you see my screen or not yet?
No, I was just going to say if perhaps people, not me, but other people want to share something about their experiences with this, isn't it? With
Yeah, we can, but I stop recording now, Leo, so I'm trying to find where I can stop recording. How can I stop recording? Oh, there. Stop.